Hi there, my name is Chloe Manley and I am a nutritional therapist and yoga teacher for those of you who don't know me. I wanted to jump on here today and share with you a really useful tool to help move you out of a stress response into a nice, calm, relaxed and grounded way of being. So I, as I'm sure many of you have been going through periods of just getting a real acute stress response, triggered mainly by reading the news. And so what's happening, when you feel like that, is that the body is moving into sympathetic tone. So sympathetic tone, also known as fight, flight or freeze, is when we get those feelings of stress. So I was feeling really sweaty in my palms, heart rate starts to go up, felt really nauseous, maybe like I wanted to run to the toilet. And those are classic symptoms of being in sympathetic tone. Now, as humans, we evolved for that to be a really helpful thing to us. So it was designed to get us out of danger. So the rush of stress hormones would have meant that the blood would then flow into our muscular system and our skeletal system. We would have run out of danger and then we would have shaken it off and then calmed back down into parasympathetic tone. I always like to think of the example of a gazelle being chased by a lion. You see them, they have the rush of hormones, gets them out of danger, and then when they escape the lion, you see them kind of like shake it off, and then 2 minutes later, they're busy eating grass or whatever it is that they do. And humans are the same, except when I was reading the news and Googling 1-year-old corona symptoms, I don't know why I was doing that to myself. I didn't then go and run 3K afterwards to get myself out of that stress response. I sat there and felt sick. And so I came back to my breathing tools because, these triggers get us. Doesn't matter how much yoga and meditation you do, how good your diet is, triggers are triggers. And sometimes when stress is really high, you're going to get triggered by it. And so using things like this in your everyday behavior can really help to move you back into parasympathetic tone. And parasympathetic tone is when the blood flow is going to be moving freely into all of our organs. So digestion is going to take place, it's going to be working well. Our hormones, our female hormones, our reproductive hormones, they get a chance to operate as well. Body starts to be able to repair itself, and of course our immune system functions optimally there as well. So it's a really important tool to have in your self-care toolkit to be able to move between sympathetic and parasympathetic tone. So the exercise I'm going to teach you today is really simple. Only takes a couple of minutes to start to work, and the more you do it, the more benefits you're going to see from it. You don't need any fancy equipment. You can do it seated, you can do it standing, you can do it lying on the bed, lying on the floor. So I'm going to give you a moment to just make yourself comfortable so you can do it here with me. I'm sitting on a bouncing ball, which is why you may see me kind of like wandering around. And I'm just going to make sure my feet are firmly planted on the ground so I can feel the floor underneath me. It's a really nice grounding way to sit. So taking a moment here, just going to close the eyes and just observe where the breath naturally is. So even doing that feels quite relaxing for me already. What I can observe is that the inhale feels more comfortable for me. It's a slightly longer inhale, and when you're taking that longer inhale, that's triggering for sympathetic tone. And my exhale feels quite tight, a little bit restricted, and that's classic of not being in parasympathetic tone. So what we want to work on is lengthening that exhale, okay? So I'm going to go back to the natural breath, and I'm just going to count the length of the inhale as it naturally is, not trying to move it at all. And then count the length of the natural exhale. Again, I'm not trying to change it. Next round of breath, do the same. So 3 rounds of breath I've done there, and I'm already starting to notice that the exhale is starting to lengthen. So if that hasn't happened for you already, that's absolutely fine. Stick with it for a couple more rounds and start to slowly extend the exhale. Okay, so then you get to a point where the inhale balances out the exhale. So a nice kind of benchmark to use for that is a 4 count inhale and then a 4 count exhale. And then slowly, with every few rounds of breath, you can start to extend the exhale. So maybe a 4 count inhale, 6 count exhale, 4 count inhale, 8 count exhale, whatever feels comfortable for you. Okay, so you don't need to feel like any kind of failure if you're not extending your exhale to any certain amount of time. It just feels what feels comfortable for you. You don't have to worry about holding the breath at all at this point. I often feel that, you know, holding the breath can actually, when you're feeling anxious, can induce anxiety even more. So it's not something I would recommend at this point. I would just work on a nice deep inhale and a nice long, soothing, relaxing exhale. Now that exhale can come out of the nose, it can come out of the mouth, it really doesn't matter. Try to think about the posture, because the more you know, aligned your posture is, the more space your diaphragm is going to have, and the deeper the breath can move down into the lungs and down into the belly. And yeah, just try and do this every day as much as you can. So what I often get clients to do is to do it before their meals, because that's kind of a set routine that they have every day. So breakfast, lunch and dinner. What you'll notice is that once you have started to move into parasympathetic tone, a little clue that you get is that you start to create saliva. So that's an indicator that, okay, the body is now into parasympathetic tone, digestion can take place, and digestion is going to happen a lot better than if you had done it when, you know, your mouth felt completely dry, because that's another clue of being stressed. So before meals is a great one. After meals, another good one. Things like brushing your teeth, that's again something you're going to happen twice a day. So again, that's 5 times you've already built up the 3 meals, brushing your teeth, when you're making a cup of tea, when you're chopping vegetables, when you are, you know, having a discussion with your kids about cleaning up after themselves or saying please and thank yous, you know, things that you do every single day, tasks that are quite mundane, and also tasks that then are actually normally quite stressful, and you can kind of change the context of that task and turn it into a really useful tool for you and your health. So I hope you found that helpful. Let me know how you get on with it, and I will be back again soon with another top tip to keep you calm, happy, and I guess just, you know, trying to not move between the highs and the lows so much, but feeling a little bit more balanced through this time. Bye.